Alrighty guys, so every single Kamado comes with this multi-level grill rack, and it's a super versatile piece of kit. So essentially today I'm just going to walk you through all the different ways you can set this thing up, for all the different types of cooking you can do. So first off, at the moment you can see we've got our heat deflector plates. These are both half moon, so fully removable. So you can use one or two depending on what you want to do. With heat deflector plates in the lowest setting, basically, and the grill rack in the top setting, this would be a perfect setting essentially for a low and slow smoking. So briskets, roast chicken, whatever you want would work really well.
We have our deflector plates in the bottom, and we have our top grilling rack high as we can get it. We want to avoid getting too much radiant heat from the bottom, burning the bottom of our protein. By using a water pan, or just a foil tray, one, it doubles as something to catch the drippings, and if you add in about halfway up with some water, it'll also add some moisture in the environment too, helping you get a little bit more smoke flavour and act as a heat sink to level off any ebbs and flows you may have in your smoker as well.
So this one right now is set up basically for dual zone cooking. You can see I've got the heat deflector plate on one side and the grill rack in the top setting here. And of course we've got a grill rack in the lowest possible setting as well for direct over the charcoal cooking. What do you recommend could be used to cook on this method, Dennis?
This is perfect for, it could be just for grilling in general, so you have a safe spot to pull things off the cooking too quickly. Because that lower rack is going to be quite high heat, and up here is going to be a little bit more indirect and a little bit more convective. It's also perfect for those reverse sear methods such as like a ribeye steak. You can cook your steak indirectly with that airflow, get that smoke flavour on there, and then open your lid up and let that charcoal get ripping hot and give it that final sear, building that texture and crust.
So you've got plenty of directly over the charcoal options as well. So each of these are movable, and obviously they can go to either, multiple heights on either side. So here, this would be your very lowest setting, directly over the charcoal, your hottest possible way to use the Kamado. What would you recommend we throw on this, Dennis?
Yeah, sure. When you're working at really high intense heat, looking at those thinner cuts, skirt steak would be a great cut for this one. We only need a quick sear on each side, and it goes perfectly in tacos or just as a steak cut in general. As you move up the tier, you're going to have a more mild heat. So at the very lowest, high heat. As you come up, you could go to your lower heat settings. For example, something like a peri-peri Mando style chicken, getting that charcoal, still that flavour coming up through those fats rendering, and allows you to frequently turn it over as you need to without it burning that skin or the sugars.
Alrighty, so you can see how we've got it set up here. So heat deflector plate on one side, and we've pushed both of our grill racks to sit on top of each other on one side of the grill rack as well. Now this is ideal if you want to put something like a vegetable tray to have drippings from the meat up top to fall down. Like, what would be some great examples of why you'd use this setup, Dennis?
Yeah, sure. One of my favourite options here is having some roast potatoes on the bottom and some duck fat on top. Now I've got the drippings going on my potatoes, giving me some delicious, crunchy duck fat potatoes to go with my roast duck.
To your next setup, you can basically use the wok ring. Now this can be put on any of the 3 levels as well, depending on how hot you want to get this thing. So yeah, it's another way you can use it. And lastly, we can set the thing up for cooking pizzas. So generally we would chuck our wok ring in and place the pizza stone on top, and away you go. Direct charcoal coming from the bottom, and this thing will get ripping hot. I did some pizzas the other day and it was sitting at 450 degrees. It was awesome. It's super important that you sort of understand what you're going to be cooking, obviously prior to cooking, and make sure you set this up outside the Kamado prior to getting started. This thing will clearly get ripping bloody hot when it's in there, so you really don't want to have to be making adjustments sort of mid-cook, otherwise you risk burning your hands off, and no one likes that. So would there ever be a reason that you wouldn't have this on the top setting if you're doing complete offset low and slow style cooking?
There may be some things where I might want to render the fat, for example. So if I'm doing a pork belly, I may consider lowering it close to the rack and having that skin side down so I get as much radiant heat as possible. Bear in mind that you got to be careful and not have too much fat rendered directly onto that deflector plate, as it could cause a grease fire. I would still recommend having a foil tray to at least catch some of those excess drippings.